A number of years ago, a very groundbreaking piece of legislation passed that introduced the United States to an ICHRA. What an ICHRA is an individual contribution health reimbursement arrangement. What does that mean? What that means is, as an employer, I can have an employer-sponsored health insurance policy, and then instead of having one carrier and a handful of plans based out of my state, an employee can go and purchase an individual health insurance policy on the open market in their state, and then they receive a pre-tax deduction reimbursement for that health insurance policy from their employer. And the employer is also able to lower their payroll tax contribution because it's a pre-tax deduction. So there's a lot of win-wins going on. The reason a lot of employers are looking into this is if you have a traditional small group, fully insured ACA plan, those rates are based off of your state. And if you're in a high premium state, let's just use New York as an example, then even if you hire people in Mississippi or lower cost states, you're still having to pay the New York state rates premiums for those employees. The value of an ICHRA is you're able to provide all those employees across the country in various states funds towards them to purchasing their own policy. And what that means is that they can have their own carriers, they can have their own metal tiers, they can have their own deduction amounts, they can do all their own research on which medical plan they want. So it gives them a lot of freedom and flexibility to have every employee kind of choose your own health insurance path, as well as provide contributions towards those policies provided by the employer. The reason the growth for ICHRAs are expanding so much is that employers are seeing double-digit cost increases for their premiums with fully insured ACA small group plans. And so they're exploring, well, I'm based in New York, but my employees are everywhere. What other cost options can we provide? And so they look into an ICHRA and they'll be able to communicate with their employees. You still have health insurance, it's just going to be able to be purchased in a different way. And luckily at Warp, we work with a number of great vendors that we help provide our customers in order to navigate and understand how this model works. But with a great broker who helps you communicate how these plans work with your employees, you're able to offload a lot of that lift onto the broker, and then your employees have a more direct line of communication to answer their questions, and they're able to have an effective and high percentage enrollment health insurance policy through an ICHRA. As an employer, you always want to have your health insurance deductions automatically flow into payroll. And sometimes your benefit administration portal does integrate with your payroll company. Sometimes they don't, and you just have to download and manually key in those deductions into payroll. And it's a huge time suck on your day-to-day operations. And so the value that a lot of employers love having both your health insurance and your payroll under one roof is those deductions automatically flow over. But that value compounds when you have an ICHRA plan without having an integration with your payroll. So that issue compounds if you don't have an ICHRA that's integrated with your payroll. Because every employee is going to be selecting a different carrier, a different metal tier, a different deduction amount. They're in different states. Most likely, you're never going to have the same deduction amount for any one employee across your organization with an ICHRA as you would with an ACA small group plan, where you might have one or two different plan types and you kind of have employees independence, and that's about it. So the fully insured plans are a lot more straightforward. But in an ICHRA plan, those deductions can really be all over the map. And so it's critical that your ICHRA platform integrates with your payroll provider so that you're not having to constantly manage these deduction changes. The number one piece of advice an employer should think about when they are considering a small group ACA plan or an ICHRA plan is really, what is your future growth? Where are you going to be hiring your employees? How many employees you're going to be hiring? Are you hiring for more entry-level positions or more senior-level positions? All of those factors go into considering what is going to be the most advantageous health insurance policy for me as the employer. For example, if I am in New York State and I want to have everyone in office, then an ICHRA really isn't going to be of much value to me because it's going to be the same rates for my small group plan, or very close to the same rates for my small group plan. For my ICHRA plan, I might as well just have a normal ACA plan. However, maybe you are based out of New York, but you plan on being a remote first company. That is a phenomenal position to be in, where we know that right now we're based out of New York, but we want to grow into other states. That growth projection is the number one factor I ask Warp customers on. Where are they looking to expand their employee base when considering a health insurance plan? Because if you are thinking of being remote first, an ICHRA is going to be a very advantageous and at least enticing plan to consider.
Ready to run your company at warp speed? Join thousands of companies that choose Warp for their employee management platform. Book a demo at warp.co.